Buddy, my name's Jessica Grillanda, and I teach English and General Studies. I've been teaching online for quite a few years, so I think I've had an advantage to spend some time working on my Moodle shells and then refining my Moodle shells. I've also taken some coursework, in particular the some of the quality matters courses on how to improve my online courses. So I'll show you in the Quality Matters course that I took, which is sort of the second level of improving what you've got on your online material. They actually ask you to take one of your courses and work through the program, and so that's what I did with the course that I'm going to show you now. So this is a course, a general education course about politics in Canada. And so I'm sure other participants will share a variety of things, but I think perhaps the things that are most useful, I'm trying to move this away, and I'm not having a lot of luck here. Can you guys help me with this? I don't want you, I don't know if you can see the box that's behind my video. You see that?
We can see your course.
You can see the course, I just
Yep.
can't see it for some reason.
Oh no.
Like I can see part of it, but there's a panel in the way. Okay, so I guess I'll share a few quick tips with you. Through the hub, before I even took the course, started looking at resources that I could create that I could share with people. And one thing I found with the Moodle shell was that it was very noisy. So there was a lot of duplicate information. So I took away some of that duplicate information and I created what we call these accessibility boxes. And you're welcome to use them. The only thing I would caution is that people will use them and they'll forget to remove my email, which is hyperlinked, and then I'll get emails from other people's students. So this one here, do you have questions about the course content? I try to be very specific and say that the students should come to me about the course content because I get a lot of technical emails. So then there's a picture of my face, which is hyperlinked to my email address. I then have this section that says, do you have problems with navigating the Moodle shell? You can reach out to the Learning Center for that. Are you having technical issues? In that case, you can go to the help desk. And if you require accessibility services over here, then there's the accessibility box that leads you to that service. So nice, clear visuals, removing a lot of the verbosity that typically exists on the Moodle shell. So if you would like to use those accessibility boxes, just go ahead and ask Rob or Chris, and they can provide you with those. So that's the first thing that I did to clean up my page. I think less is more, kind of like a PowerPoint, less is more, so less words, the better. Another thing that I've done that can be shared out is in my first semester courses. So any course that I offer that begins in the fall semester, instead of introducing content on the first week, I do a short introductory email about what the course is about, which is pretty standard, but the assigned material is all related to learning to use the Moodle environment. So I've created an introduction that does a lot of the things like, telling me a little bit about yourself, but I do it through submitting an assignment so they learn how to upload a file. I also show them how to use the forum feature, which we use quite frequently in my courses, by just asking them to share things like what their favorite movies are and to respond to somebody else. And so that starts to create a little bit of community in the classroom. And I show them the quiz feature by preparing them for how to be successful in the online environment. So, have you saved 5 hours of your time to dedicate towards this course? Have you created a spot on your timetable? Did you know that you cannot submit assignments not 1 minute late in this course because I grade them right away? Things like that. And then after I've asked them to go through all the material, like the course outlines, the weekly breakdowns, and the introductory material, I review all the information with a "Did you get it" quiz about their online orientation. So The hope is that by the time they've gotten through all this material, they're very aware of the expectations of the course and of the features of the LMS system at the same time. So again, those are shareable resources. So if you're interested in them, just ask the hub and they'll share those out with you. So moving along now, a couple of other things. Through the Quality Matters, I'll show you a typical week. Through the Quality Matters, I reformed my material a little bit. So I always have things listed in terms of weeks, and then I have that lined up with my weekly breakdown. So for week 2, Canadian Nation, what I added, and I find this very useful for the students in being aware of what the key information in the course is. I've actually taken my course outline and demonstrated the elements of the learning objectives on the Moodle shell. And the hope there is, first of all, that they have a clean understanding of what the key information is that I'm about to impart. And second of all, that hopefully it can act as good test prep when it comes to their test time. So for each week, I show the learning objectives. And I find that also very useful when it comes to reviewing my course outline at the end of the semester, because there are certain things I've said, you know what, this is really not a very necessary feature of this class. I think I'm going to drop this, or I think that we're really missing something here. So it's helped me to refine the course at the same time. I try to make all my weeks look the same. So once you get into the course in week 2, 3, I keep it very consistent so they have consistent expectations about what needs to be done. So in this politics class, for instance, they need to journal every week on a topic, on a prompt question. Then they have the online lecture, which I have put in this kind of format by using the label feature. So I get an embed code for my lecture that either lives on YouTube or on OneDrive or wherever you house your material. Using the label feature, you can put in the embed code, and the hub can show you how to do that to create this nice, clean kind of lecture screen where I have a pre-recorded lecture. And then I have, in all my gen ed courses, I do not use textbooks. I use fair use copyright to use different articles or TED Talks to populate my course. So I will have either an accompanying viewing or podcast or reading that goes along with it, and that's all housed in the LMS. And then finally, just to reinforce the key information in my classes, I often provide them with study questions. So I give them a list of questions. I say, take those questions, print them out, write them down, put them in a file. And as you're listening to my lecture and as you're reading your reading or seeing the viewing, find the answers to those questions. If you find the answers to those questions, you're going to be test ready. So I think that the big difference when it comes to the online environment is all of those, verbal reinforcements that we do, the students have less access to. So it's trying to be very, I do this thing in my face-to-face classes where I do windmill arms if something is going to be on a test, so that they get used to, that big gesture just in case they're falling asleep. But you don't have that kind of that extra element in the online environment. So I try to be explicit about what is important information, while still delivering all my charming anecdotes in my in my online lecture. So the last thing I think I would say is that beyond the clean, consistent shell, the no surprises information, the helpful study guides, just like in any course, connection is key. And so I would say the things that are most successful for me are moments where, we see each other's humanity. And I try to do that by providing kind of different type of feedback. So I try to point to, I'm a more personal when I provide my feedback. on their graded assignments. And also it's a bit time consuming, but I found that the time is worthwhile. I I check in with them by writing a personal response to what they've shared with me in the online orientation, but I haven't found that that's enough. I check in again around a little bit before the midterm, and like, sometimes I create 4 or 5 boiler plate emails, but I email all the students individually and say, hey, this is where you're at. This is what you can do to be more successful. And I find the students really, really relish that opportunity for some one on one connection, even if it's just over email, to feel like they're seen in a course environment where you don't really see them. So I think that's all I'll share for now.